Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at property address 762 9th Street here in Lake Oswego. Located up on the rooftop, we're going down through a 4-inch cast iron vent. We're going to check the overall condition, serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running, and we will zero the foot counter out once we hit the base of the vent. And there is actually a clean out. Part of the reason I'm going through the vent here is it's just a faster point of access. Rather than taking the Trex decking apart, it doesn't come apart quite as, not anywhere near as easily as just a regular deck board does. But it's about 3-4 boards out from the back glass door. If you look at the decking, you'll see a black ABS clean out down there. Anyway, starting out here in 4-inch cast iron. We are zeroed out here, and off we go. And there are some advantages sometimes, in a lot of cases, going to these vents like this. You get to often see pipe you don't otherwise see in a lot of cases from the outside cleanout. Assuming it's a directional style cleanout. A lot of them these days force you one direction. You can't go backwards through them. And I may have to do a little bit of reviewing at home. I've got a lot of sun glare up here in my face. It looks like we just swapped over to ABS there. Got some settling going on. At least it appears that way. We'll see how it looks once the line's drained out. Actually, it looks like all that was really done, it looks like was a clean out was put in. It looks like we went right back over to cast iron. I don't know if we're on an old septic or cesspool system here. Okay, we're gonna let the line drain out. I'm hitting a spot here where the line is completely full of water. I'm gonna let this thing drain. It almost looks like there's a blockage in the line. Yeah, my guess here is you probably have like a root intrusion in the line. My camera is, I'll push soft blockages out with it, but it's not a drain cleaning implement. When I run up against that, my camera's stopping pretty effectively. So, anyway, I put where I located is, maybe 10, 15 feet out from the back of the house in total. I tried to minimize my paint just because there's a lot of little rocks back there, or pavers. So I shot a dot of paint right between 2 different rocks out back. You'll see a bright green dot there. It's very shallow. I'm only getting maybe 2 foot 3 inches deep there. But, anyway, I'm bumping into this thing. It doesn't feel like... I'll ram up against it here a little bit more here, but... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. The likelihood that it's a root is pretty high, considering its original pipe materials. It's very shallow, and there's a lot of foliage in the backyard. It could be something else. Could be an offset. But in this circumstance... What I'm going to recommend here, just to get a proper look at the sewer line, would be to jet the pipe out or drain clean it in some manner. There's the clean out access. And anytime I've done right around 25,000 sewer scopes at this point in my career. Very common thing I see anytime I see a clean out that's been randomly installed on an otherwise original sewer line. That generally means the clean out was installed for the purposes of drain cleaning the sewer line. Because the line is acting up on a fairly frequent basis. So, anyway, my guess is whatever's going on there is something that's reared its head before in the past. So, a little bit of water is drained through the line right now. That's what that water was there. Anyway, recommend cleaning. And for those that aren't familiar with Trex decking, they're all a little bit different. It may not be Trex brand, but they all are kind of similar. They have a bracketing system. This is for anyone watching the video that hasn't removed that. The drain cleaning would be a little easier to do, obviously, from the clean out. Usually you can undo there's screws at the brackets between the boards. You can unscrew, typically speaking, all the brackets on one side of the board and then pop the board out. What you have to do though is unscrew those, slide the brackets all the way down to the end and remove them on one side of the board, but leave the other side there. That will allow you to remove the deck board and gain access to the clean out. And then when you put it back in there, you put the board, you slot it back into the bracket that you left in place, and then you slide all the other brackets right up the end of the decking back into place, and then screw them back down. So that's if you're unfamiliar with how those work. That's kind of in general how Trex decking typically works. So that style of decking anyway. Anyhow, recommended cleaning. Any rescope, see what's going on here. The line, I can pretty much guarantee you, needs some level of repair work. And a line this age, if we have original piping in place here, because the age the line is, this is a scenario I rarely recommend you spot repair a line, especially when they're older, and especially even more so when they're shallow and near a lot of foliage, trees and whatnot. You're asking for another root intrusion if you go and just do a spot repair and splice new pipe into old. Those are the weakest joints in a sewer line when you have old pipe meeting new stuff. So it's a point in time where it makes sense to just simply update, unless it's simply a just really stubborn blockage, which I kind of doubt, but it might be. But part of the reason for drain cleaning is to get a look at the slope and grade of the entire line to see what kind of repair options you have to work with. If it's something you can potentially do trenchlessly, or if it requires digging.